Bryan Harsin has been fired as the head coach of Auburn football. This coming just minutes ago. There's a lot to unpack here. John Cohen was just hired, more or less, as the athletic director at Auburn. My man was probably still finding his way around campus, and along the way to finding his office, I'm assuming, finally, for most of us that have been waiting for this for a while, cut ties with Bryan Harsin. And there's a lot to unpack with this. There's a lot of layers to this. We're going to do a lot of videos throughout the future, so if you haven't yet subscribed, would encourage you to do so. But here's the bad news. The bad news for Auburn is this should have been done a while ago. And it has been drug out, and it has taken far too long. And now, if you're Auburn, you still got football games left to play. You have a recruiting class to get signed, sealed, delivered here before the early signing day. The signed, obviously, is sort of a figure of speech. You get what I'm saying here. You got to recruit, and you don't have a head coach yet, and there's a lot of just wild things happening now around Auburn. So, in short, you need to hit a complete reset, right? Like top to bottom, need to hit a reset. Because for the longest time, like we said, this has been something that has been, in a lot of ways, just a bad look. Quite frankly, it's been a bad look for the program, for the university, because everyone knew, really after that Penn State game, Bryan Harsin wasn't going to be coaching there much longer. And we waited with bated breath. Bye week came and went. Still nothing happened. And now for him to be fired, if I'm a head coach and I'm looking for a job, or maybe will be looking for a job after our program season finishes, I'm looking to elevate, and you're telling me I'm supposed to go to Auburn after they fired their head coach after 21 games? Folks, I've had lunch breaks last longer than 21 games, right? I mean, like that's so little time. And I understand it was sort of doomed from the start, but I'm just saying, as a whole, if I'm a head coach looking to take a job, the Auburn job right now, I would, one, know that it's going to be a complete rebuild. Like from the ground up, I have to now rebuild everything from recruiting standpoint to, you know, the relationships with the powers that be, the boosters. I mean, all this has to now be grown back from the ashes, because it was just, in a lot of ways, a train wreck what happened with Bryan Harsin and Auburn. Bad deal. Bad deal. So that's the bad news. The bad news is it's a complete rebuild, complete reset. The good news is Auburn as a program, as a job in the future, is one of the most attractive in all of college football. Like in terms of programs when they're humming, I don't know if there's a better job outside of maybe 4 or 5 than Auburn. And so if Auburn can get their structure together and get a plan in place and understand whoever they hire on, it's not going to be a repeat of what happened with Bryan Harsin. It's not going to be a, hey, you weren't really our guy to begin with, so we're going to try and sabotage this operation. That can't be the way that you go about it. So that's the good news, that there is a lot of potential. I think it's the best word you could put to this job, to this program, potential. So in terms of who would they hire, it's probably a whole long list you could go down. I will say this, though. I don't think it's Deion Sanders. And that's nothing against Deion Sanders. That's nothing against what he's built at Jackson State. He's done a phenomenal job. There's a lot of people that think it will be him. My reservations would be he hasn't really coached at the college level for a long amount of time, hasn't coached at the Power 5 level ever. And so jumping from Jackson State to Auburn in the SEC would feel like sort of a big jump. And Auburn as a program, as a coaching fit, it's just that, it has to be a fit. And I don't typically say that it has to be a fit for any other program because, quite frankly, if you win, you're a fit. At Auburn, I think it's more than just that. I think you have to be able to manage, like we talked about, the powers that be. You have to be able to manage everything that comes with that job. And there's more that comes with that job than I think any other program in the country. So, with that being said, Bryan Harsin is out as the head coach at Auburn, effective immediately, only lasted 21 games. In terms of who you should hire, I think it's got to be someone who's going to be very much process-oriented and is understanding what they're getting into. Hugh Freeze just got an extension at Liberty, but that's a guy that I might take a close look at. All right, we'll have a full video breaking down our candidates. Those are the early thoughts. Appreciate you tuning in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.